Every Canadian knows that there's something in Ottawa called Fantasy Island. It looks like Disneyland sometimes. We have civil servants making over $500,000 a year salary, and then they say, well, we need a bonus because we're doing so well. We have a Prime Minister. Well, he had his own Fantasy Island. He went down to visit the Aga Khan. When he first became Prime Minister, he said, oh, my good friend. Well, the Aga Khan said, well, I haven't spoken to him for 40 years, but he does give us tens and tens of millions of dollars every year, so here we go. We had a Prime Minister who, when a comedian, American comedian, was chairing some fundraiser, Trudeau heard about it and said, I can't be there, but here's $50 million I'm sending you from the Canadian taxpayer. We have a man who treated Canadian taxpayers as though they were his serfs. And that was okay for the first few years. I disagree with it, but people vote him back in. But now we have a country which is torn at strife. We have a province, Quebec, which is in all intents and purposes a separate country. He didn't say a peep about it. We have people losing their jobs across the nation because of his taxes on oil and gas. We have other people suffering through inflation and not being able to drive to work because of the high price of oil and gas, and it shouldn't be. But as a Deputy Prime Minister said the other day, we are doing this notwithstanding that Canadians are suffering. It shows our commitment to fighting climate change, even though the way they fight climate change is something that's just been passé. We've had experts on this show saying it doesn't mean a bit of difference to the world, what Canada does. But this government is hammering down the Canadian people time after time after time. The Prime Minister has endured scandal after scandal after scandal. Just the other day, it was confirmed by Public Works that yes, one of his buddies got a contract, sole sourced, over $250 million to make respirators. None of them were ever used. He didn't have a company that did that before. All of a sudden, oh, you're in financial trouble? Here's $250 million. You're my friend. The mainstream media doesn't pass that, by the way. They just don't want to tell you about that because, one, they're not interested, two, that they get paid. But now Ottawa's starting to change. A journalist who's been in Ottawa since he was knee-high to probably, Mackenzie King, says the other day, after 7 years, I realized the Prime Minister is woke, he is stuffy, he is out of focus. He just said all the things that are true about the Prime Minister and that the Prime Minister is not doing a good job. To my mind, if it took you 7 years in Ottawa watching them side by side to figure this out, you shouldn't have been in Ottawa because people outside of Ottawa knew this from the very start, that this Prime Minister is in la la land. So, what am I doing standing here except for complaining? I'm complaining and I'm pointing it out that there is something that can happen. This government is supported by Liberal MPs and by NDP MPs, and a number of those MPs said, we are embarrassed by Trudeau and we are embarrassed by the lack of action on this government. Look at any passport, look at any airport. We have ministers there who are lying to Parliament. It's a dog's breakfast, and we aren't going to put up with it anymore. These MPs should stand up for their own credibility, and if they do that, then they can make a difference to all of Canada. Let's hope they do. I read the comments that you leave after every show, and I get it. A number of you don't like my glasses, but a number of you saying, when we're asking for money, well, how much money does he need? I do not get a penny for doing this show. I do this show because I believe there has to be an outlet for discussion, analysis, news, Trudeau's $700,000 kitchen, and I wouldn't be there in the mainstream news. I'm asking for money because these guys behind the camera, the crew, they need to get paid to do their job. So, help us. Press subscribe, press PayPal.